There is a new restaurant in town, and it comes from the family behind another well-known eatery in Manhattan. Tucci, a sister establishment to the fabled steakhouse Delmonico's, just opened last night.
Located on the corner of Bleecker and Broadway, Tucci mixes modern Italian cuisine with family recipes. It will be run by Delmonico's co-owner and Max Tucci, a grandson of Oscar Tucci, the man who ran Delmonico's in the first half of the 20th century. It's one of the most storied restaurants in New York and in America. Max joins us now. First and foremost, did you sleep? You opened Tucci last night?
We opened last night.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing everyone celebrated until the early morning hours.
And celebrated ancestors too. So that's what kept me up all night, because my grandfather's not here, so I was celebrating them and
good for you.
Welcoming all to the table.
Yeah.
And can you just quickly, because we have other questions we want to ask you, but explain what we got here?
Absolutely. So Delmonico's, America's first fine dining restaurant since 1837. We're opening a micro bakery right next door. So our head baker is here and made some wonderful breads and focaccia sourdough, right? The asparagus in the cookbook, my cookbook, The Delmonico Way. The steak, the legendary Delmonico steak. And panettone. It's coming up, the holiday Easter. So Delmonico's is doing panettone. But the fun thing is with Tucci, you're going to see some things from Delmonico's at Tucci.
Interesting. Well, it's, you talk about your ancestors.
Yeah.
Tell me about how your family's history is really infused in this restaurant.
So, ancestors for me are a huge thing. My grandfather really paved this beautiful path for me, right? My father, my Aunt Mary, my grandmother Sesta, and honoring them. I really am in the season of honoring my ancestors. The logo for Tucci is my father's signature, and in the book, The Delmonico Way, I talk about my grandfather being an immigrant from Italy, coming to America, buying this brand, buying the building, and honoring the past. I like to say we're moving forward while looking back.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that not only did you bring your head baker here today, but he's working at Tucci as well. You brought him from Delmonico's, and you brought the bread, and it looks so delicious. Bread can often be, even at a nice restaurant, kind of a throwaway. And I think it's interesting that you spend so much time and attention on the bread. What makes it special? What
makes the bread special is it's made in-house, right? And we also have our baker. He came from Croatia, right, to really prepare. We're looking at bread not just as a local, but as a global experience, right? So what are the other trends in other countries, right? That's what my grandfather did by hiring so many beautiful people at Delmonico's. So the bread is really, and the focaccia is one of the most incredible focaccias I've ever had. We have some tasting also. The panettone, which is coming up. Carbs are a good thing.
I couldn't agree with you more.
I like to hear that,
right?
Max.
And it's sourdough, so it's easy to digest, and it's good.
All right. Well, let's talk about the steak, right?
Please.
Because the Delmonico ribeye is on the menu.
Yeah.
So is that your favorite cut?
It is my favorite cut. My mother's favorite cut is the ribeye with the bone in. This comes from Brandt Family Farm. So everything is hand-selected, hand-butchered. We really, the Delmonico way, take it one step further, right? And so it's really, like you're saying, choosing the best ingredients, choosing the best steaks, and making an experience for the clientele where they're going to want to come back.
This is medium rare or just rare? I'm just...
This, on camera, looks like it's rare, but it could be a little bit in between rare and medium rare.
Either way, it looks delicious. Tell us.
But medium rare is the way to go.
That is, yeah. That's the order you would recommend if somebody says cook it however the chef
Delmonico's,
suggests.
Medium rare. Max says medium rare.
And what is it that inspired you to write a book, and what kinds of things do you include in there? Both sort of tips for people at home to do what you do at Delmonico's, but also family ancestry and things like that.
So the Delmonico way is the biggest tip, right? And it's, again, taking things next step further. My grandfather's motto, all are welcomed at the table. So that's what we're doing at Tucci, we're doing at Delmonico's. But the Delmonico way, the inspiration, again, family. My Aunt Mary had a beautiful diary that she kept over the years. She was known as the iron fist with the lace glove, right? So she was an incredible powerhouse woman.
Says it all.
And speaking of women, Delmonico's, a great story in the book. April 20th, we're celebrating a huge anniversary. It's almost 200 years that women were allowed to dine at Delmonico's unaccompanied by men. It was the first restaurant that allowed women. Wow. So those stories and recipes.
Wow.
Marlena Dietrich's Cherry Jubilee, Marilyn Monroe, her famous grapefruit, Elizabeth Taylor. Without giving it all up, you got to buy the book.
Yeah.
Right? But the stories are in there, and honoring my ancestors.
And it's really about sort of the American dream, right? And that they came here and started all of this.
The American dream is really, we call it the sogno americano, right, in Italian. And so it is the American dream, and that's what Tucci is for me, right? So it's like all these years later, my family will be 100 years in the hospitality industry in 2027. So for me, it's a very, it's an accomplishment to honor them and to say that anything is possible. There's that beautiful no no, but that it leads to the divine yes, and that's what Tucci and Delmonico's are.
The fact that you're so proud of Delmonico's been in your family for a long time, but to start something on your own has to be, and to have family there last night celebrating that, it's just got to be an emotional thing for you.
It's so emotional. My mother came in. Look, you're gonna make me cry. You got that Barbara Walters special right there.
Didn't even
My
need
mother she showed up. You know, she cut the ribbon literally 6 months ago yesterday for Delmonico's, and yesterday she was at Tucci. But I think what the most beautiful thing about both restaurants are is, yes, there's, you know, the atmosphere and everyone and the employees and the whole thing, but it's the guests. That's what keeps our heartbeat, is our guests. So, like my grandfather said, all are welcome to the table. And you two better come both to Delmonico's and Tucci.
And thank you so much for joining
pleasure.
us this morning. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. Tucci's is now open, accepting reservations, and you can get a copy of the book online and in bookstores as well.
And thank you for spending part of your Saturday morning with us. I'm Elaine Quijano.
I am Doug Williams. Do stay with CBS 2 for continuing coverage of all of our top stories. We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching, everybody.